Welcome everybody, my name is Misty Chronexia and this is the 5 anime of the week. If you are new to the game, let me quickly sum it up for you so you can be up to speed with everybody else. We go on the website that is also not sponsored, but it is myanimelist.net. It is a huge database that has several thousands of anime, and we pick 5 at random thanks to a button that I've installed on my computer. Speaking of which, last week was mostly chaotic. It went kind of off the rails, but my dumbass kind of figured out there was a hentai filter version, so technically we shouldn't get any more hentais. Keeping my finger crossed on that one, because that's just my luck. But yeah, so we should have just clean content right now. Also, if you're interested in my desktop, this is from Fate Apocrypha, I believe. I know it's from Fate, I just don't know which one exactly. Moving on to the actual randomizing part, and this is the part where you guys usually care about, so apologies for like the minutes of intro that comes with it. Hey! Love this one! Baka Shoukanjuu. It is a really good show, first of all. This is the mini adventure, but it's a special. Let's put it to the real actual series, which is 2 seasons, I believe 26 episodes total, about one of the finest comedy you will find, about a bunch of idiots that are trying to challenge the most intelligent classrooms. So big praises from me on this one. It is a show that I love, and I still do to this day. So let's play the clip and hopefully I'll convince you to give it a chance.
なんだそれは
67分の1のカップ麺
67分の 1?
半分の半分の半分の半分の半分の半分
Entry number 1, Baka Shoukanjuu. Baka is an anime I first saw back in 2012. It's a low-intelligence comedy mostly about absurdity. Every character, while stereotypical, falls into their own trope, but they embrace it to such an extent it doesn't come off as one-dimensional. The story is about a school who ranks their students during the entrance exams. The worst of them get put in Class F, and that includes Himeji, a brilliant and stellar student who couldn't finish her exam as she got sick and ended up in the class instead. With the help of fellow classmates, they challenged the almighty Class A in chibi battle matches that put their strongest subject against one another. The show is endearing and I recommend it to anyone. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Would give it a 10, but that would depreciate Nichijou and Daily Life of High School Boys, but still a very solid pick. Aren't we off to a good foot this week? Let's go ahead and pick the next one, and I'll assume we... Okay. I really wish we would have gotten the, this is the disappearance of Nagato Yuki-chan, which is kind of like the spin-off of the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. I wish we could have talked about that one, but this is the Nagato Yuki-chan instead. So I have to talk about this one, but if you have not seen the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, it is mostly implied that you need to start with this one. You don't have to, you can start with this one. It's not that good. I don't see why you would if you have not seen the Melancholy. So focus yourself on the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, but I will have to talk about Nagato Yuki-chan instead. So let's play the clip of this shitty one instead.
俺が文芸部に入ってからそろそろ1週間経つのかと思ってな。
慣れない。
慣れる以前に何もしてないしな。
Entry number 2, The Disappearance of Nagato Yuki. I think if this anime was a standalone title, it would have fared much more decently. Unfortunately, it has the bad luck of being cast in the shadow of the behemoth that is the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. Nagato Yuki-chan, which is one of the main characters in Melancholy, finally gets an anime entirely dedicated to her in this alternate universe where she, her crush, and her friend try to defend the literature club from being obliterated. The anime is not bad. I'm sure for completionists of Melancholy this felt like extra meat, but for newcomers I can't in good conscience recommend this. You have to go for the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. Season 2 is a heartache to go through, but it's so rewarding if you reach the movie at the end. Nagato Yuki-chan gets a 5 out of 10, but if you want to watch it regardless, it's on Crunchyroll.com/Misty, which is our sponsor for today.
大いなる誤解です。
こちらのミクル本人との勝負で測らせてもらうさ。ほえ、とばっちり。受けた。
Alright, so that was number 2. Going off with number 3, which is gonna be the anime you've been meaning for me to talk about. Alright, was that your deep down secret? Was that the show you've been meaning for me to cover for all the time? Tsubomi's Secret. It's a shoujo slice of life kid show. I don't judge you. I mean, if you want me to talk about it, I'm gonna talk about it. But it's really underground stuff. You're going. It's like there's the carpet, and then you just pulled it, and then you took a shovel and you dug under it, and then you went deep down in the mine, took a cart, right it like fucking in the core of the earth, and that's where you find Tsubomi's Secret. As play the clip. Entry number 3, Tsubomi's Secret. All jokes aside, I think Tsubomi's Secret is a really decent and important anime. While it won't connect to many people, those who do find an interest in it will be able to appreciate what it achieves. The story is about Tsubomi, a little girl who have little girl's problem. The first episode is focused on her steps throughout womanhood, how she comes to understand how her mother became pregnant, and well, no need for me to go into detail about that. The whole 3 episodes is an anthology of sex ed, and how Tsubomi handles puberty and its challenge that comes with it. Dealing with boys she has a crush on and a new friend she made. The anime is pretty rare, and while it is kind of educational, there's a bit of comedy regardless, and I can see myself recommend it. It's made with tact, and I think it's a great kid show. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 since it's short, it's about an hour and a half long. Check it out! Alright, I mean, we're 3 done, 2 to go. This is how it's gonna play sometimes. We're gonna get interesting comedies, sometimes we're gonna get crazy adventures, and other times we're gonna get kid shows. I don't cheat the polls, we get whatever we decide to get, and that sometimes include Fortune Arterial. I don't really want to talk about it. It sucks. I don't like it. It was bad, but it is, yeah, I don't cheat the polls, so, Fortune Arterial, which is a story about a dude who meets with vampires. Look, if you're gonna go for a vampire story, there's... I could list you, like, at least 3 from the top of my head that are just better. Hellsing, Chibi Vampire, and Vampire Hunter D. There you go. 3 from the top of my head. This is not one of them. This would be, like, not even top 10 material. It's... bottom trash, let's go! Play the clip, play the clip. Entry number 4, Fortune Arterial. Ever heard of Fortune Arterial? Probably not. You might have even seen it, but you won't quite remember what it was about because it suffers from the forgettable visual adaptation syndrome. The anime is fairly recent, 2010, but it came about when they started pumping adaptations by gallons. You use the metric system, by the 3.79, it just doesn't roll off the tongue as well. Anyway, the story was about a transfer student. It's always about a transfer student who moves into a secluded island to start his new life, but whoops, there's a fellow classmate who's a vampire. Where have I seen that except every vampire story ever? It's a rom-com, nothing really scary about the show. It's worth a 6 on its best day, it's just not really going anywhere for me. I mean, still from the top of my head, I was like Rosario Vampire, Dancing a Vampire Bond, even Vampire Knight to a certain extent. The ladies like it, I mean, must count for something. Anyway, those are the cards that were dealt to us, and let's pick the 5th one, the final one, so it gives us the poker hand we dreamed of. Please give us something good. Oh, I can't even look. Is it good, guys? Is it any good? Owari and the Seraph. Okay, I can handle this note. Now that I had a choice. This is the special, right? Let's go back to the actual series. There we go. Speaking of vampire stuff, I mean, that's still another one. Owari no Seraph. Interesting selection. Yeah, it's thematic. I like it. So yeah, story really good. Good approach on every aspect. Visuals are nice. Characters were endearing. Very strong first episode, and I suggest you have nerves of steel to go through it. So hopefully that incites you enough to just give it a look. So let's play the clip and end on this fabulous note that is Owari no Seraph. And finally, entry number 5, Owari no Seraph. Like I said, if you're seeking a more serious vampire-focused anime, I recommend you give this one a shot instead. The anime begins in a small village, where all the adults suddenly dies from a mysterious virus. During the commotion, a few kids from the orphanage get captured and are brought into a camp-like location, where they become livestock for vampires, just so they can feed a vampire on the go. Displeased with this new status quo, Yuichiro, one of the older orphans, set up an escape plan which backfires and put them all in hot water. The first episode is a punch deliverer. After that, it slows down and gives a great insight on when a fellow friend of yours goes down a different path. I like the anime. It might not be the popular opinion, but in a world of Naruto, Sasuke, I felt Owari no Seraph achieved a fresh take on the subject. And I'll give it an 8 out of 10 and wrap it up with that. So this is it. No sponsor this week. I mean, besides the everlasting Crunchyroll. If you want to get yourself a Crunchyroll link, it's still in the boom description down below. If you want to, you don't have to. Don't worry about it. It's so cool. If you already wanted to, you'd have done it by now. So I'm not gonna guilt trip you into getting one, although you should. But this is it. This is all the time that I had for, and I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll see you again next week. If you just come from my channel just for the anime of the week, I thank you just for coming at all, but beyond that, I'll have something else by the end of the week. So thank you so much for stopping by, and have a wonderful rest of the day. I love you!
Hard times, I've been on the wrong side, I've been ashamed. So many memories, you know I'd like to change.